Hey guys, what's up? 2-Bit Jesus here, and may the 4th be with you. And on this very special day, you all know I like to review a Star Wars game. Now, the past few May the 4ths, I've reviewed the Dark Forces series. I reviewed Dark Forces 1, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, and Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, and right before The Last Jedi came out, I reviewed Jedi Outcast. So I've reviewed every game in this series, minus the expansion to Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, Mysteries of the Sith. I always felt that was an expansion. I mentioned it in that review, but I never fully reviewed that one. So if anyone wants me to review that, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll make space for that game. But I felt it's pretty much the same game. It's just like a little side story of two. Now, I've set my sights on a new series to take a look at, and it's a series I feel, while maybe not forgotten, it isn't spoken about as much from what I've seen on the online gaming community, and that series is Rogue Squadron. I absolutely loved the Rogue Squadron games on GameCube, and today I'm taking a look at a Rogue Squadron game that was on the N64. Now, no. It's not Rogue Squadron. It is Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo. When this game came out, Star Wars Episode 1 had just come out. I was Star Wars crazy. I was getting every Star Wars game I could, that being Episode 1 Pod Racer, Shadows of the Empire. I also got this game, and this game was my first foray into the Rogue Squadron series. So, with that said, let's jump right into this review. Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo is an arcade shooter game co-developed by Factor 5 and Lucasarts, released holiday season of 2000 for the N64 and later in 2001 for the PC. Battle for Naboo is the final entry in a 3-game exclusivity deal between LucasArts and Nintendo for the N64. The first 2 games were Episode 1 Racer and Rogue Squadron. Battle for Naboo is a spiritual prequel to Rogue Squadron. After the success of Rogue Squadron, LucasArts and Factor 5 went to work on a follow-up for that title. It was decided that the game would be set during the time of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. The development team stated that they watched the movie several times and borrowed heavily from it when creating the vehicles and characters of the game. In fact, the character you play in the game is a background character in the movie named Gavin Sykes. The development team initially started with the Rogue Squadron game engine, but decided to create a brand new engine that took the strengths of Rogue Squadron's game engine and fixed its weaknesses. For example, Naboo has a much better draw distance than Rogue Squadron. This is also possible because Factor 5 was more familiar with the N64's hardware after creating Squadron for the system. Battle for Naboo also has a particle system that was created for the N64. Factor 5 created it to display falling snow in Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine on the N64. This breakthrough for that title gave great benefits for Battle for Naboo, which has rain, explosions, and snow effects, without bogging the system down and causing crashing frame rates. LucasArts, for their part in development, provided art, level design. Skywalker Sound also supported the team by providing music directly from the movie to the development team. So, with these tidbits out of the way, let's soar and fly right into this review. Battle for Naboo has a flight simulator / arcade style to its gameplay. Each level gives you objectives to complete, whether that be destroying an X amount of enemies, destroying a certain enemy or object, protecting a certain character or object, and lastly, just getting from point A to point B in a mission. The vast majority, though, will be destroying enemies or protecting an ally. Battle for Naboo has a decent selection of vehicles. You got the iconic Naboo starfighter, a Naboo bomber, and a smaller, more nimble Naboo fighter. You can also take the fight to the Trade Federation on the ground with speeders and skiffs. There are weapon power-ups that increase the damage of your primary weapons and missiles. Enemy aircraft are made up of droid starfighters and air mines. You can tell Factor 5 really wanted to explore ground combat in this title, as the enemies on the ground are a little more varied than what you have in the air. See, you have your basic battle droids, destroyer droids, turrets, tanks, transports, and boats. The AI is very dumb, however. That doesn't mean you should underestimate them, though, because in great numbers or with well-placed shots, they can take you down easily. The controls handled decently. The control stick will feel very loose at first, but after a couple of levels, you get used to it. Battle for Naboo will grade your performance in each level, including completion time, enemies destroyed, etc. You have bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Getting higher medals will unlock bonus levels as well as other content like game commentary and extra vehicles in the game. The game implements a password system, so you could just unlock all those bonuses without having to earn any of those medals. The level design is fair from a visual standpoint. They look different, but once you dig deeper beyond the cosmetic layer, you realize that every level behaves roughly the same. It is either a big open area or a tight tunnel you have to fight through. Luckily, the action is constant, so you won't spend too much time contemplating level design, as allies always need help or you get swarmed by fighter droids. The gameplay is fairly decent, but the far from perfect controls, the paint-by-the-numbers enemies, and lackluster vehicle selection gives Battle for Naboo's gameplay 1.5 bits out of 4. Battle for Naboo, like all LucasArts games, had awesome sound. The game captures the sounds of the movie perfectly. From the music to the sounds of the vehicles and ambient sounds of Naboo, the game just nails it, thanks to Skywalker Sound. The music, while nailing the melodies, it does have a previous gen sound to them. I think this music could have been on the Super Nintendo. I get it though, the N64 being a cart and having limited space, the development team had to make cuts. And I'm sure this more chiptune style to the music took up less space than a straight rip from the movie. That being said, the sound is solid and immersed me audibly into the world of this game and Star Wars. I give it 2 bits out of 4. The game looks great when it's showing the bird's eye view in a starfighter. The world is big and colorful in all the levels. Where the game gets a little less so is when you hit the ground and get a closer look at some of the buildings, and especially the characters driving the ground vehicles. They lack detail and look like paper cutouts. This may sound like a big gripe from me, but honestly, it's a minor one as the game is focused on air, ground, and sea combat. So you'll be seeing the world, for the most part, from the bigger view than the close-up view that shows these lack of details. The development team did put a lot of love into the vehicles. I feel they look great and diverse from each other. The story starts with the traditional Star Wars crawl. You play Gavin Sykes during the Trade Federation invasion of Naboo. The beginning of the game has you escaping the capture of Theed and heading into the swamps of Naboo. On the way there, you save civilians and get involved with a Hutt in an uneasy alliance to resist the Trade Federation's occupation. You are inevitably betrayed by the Hutt, who kills your commander who you escaped Theed with. Curse his predictable but yet inevitable betrayal. Once you get revenge against the Hutt, Captain Panaka has returned to Naboo and is rallying the troops. This is where the game ties back into the main story of the movie. You help with the assault on Theed and then take to space to take down the droid control ship. Here you do your best to destroy the ship, but you're really just buying time so little hotshot Anakin Skywalker can swoop in and save the day. The end shows a huge celebration and defeat of the Trade Federation. I like this story. It fills in the gap of what was happening on Naboo while the main cast of characters were busy on Tatooine and Coruscant. Presentation is great in Battle for Naboo. I give it 3 bits out of 4. Star Wars Battle for Naboo was a great stroll down memory lane. I have a lot of great gaming memories tied to this title. I remember the summers of 1999 and 2000, sitting in my bedroom playing this game. A lot of great memories, but still, that being said, nostalgia being one hell of a drug, the gameplay isn't as great as I remembered. My final verdict for Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo is a recommended look for the casual, and I would actually say a must-buy for the hardcore collector of the N64. You can find it online for around $15 depending on its condition, but ultimately, folks, I would suggest getting the PC version as the controls with the mouse is much better than the N64 control stick. It just is going to be a much better gameplay experience. But for those who are hardcore about the 64, I would definitely suggest getting that game. And with that being said, that's it for this review. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching it. And again, if there's any game you want us to review, pop it down in the comment section below, and then we will do our best to review it as fast as we can. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and may the 4th be with you.